The longer I live, the more deeply I learn that love, whether we call it friendship or family or romance, is a work of mirroring and magnifying each other's light. Gentle work, steadfast work, life-saving work in those moments when life and shame and sorrow occlude our own light from our view. But there's still a clear-eyed, loving person to beam it back. In our best moments, we are that person for another. James Baldwin. Welcome to the part 6 and epilogue of Crime and Punishment, written by Fyodor Dostoevsky. 2 to 3 days had passed since Katerina Ivanovna's death. During these days, Raskolnikov had met Svidrigailov 2 or 3 times at Sonia's lodging. They had exchanged a few words and made no reference to the vital subject, as though they were tacitly agreed not to speak of it for a time. Katerina Ivanovna's body was still lying in the coffin. Svidrigailov was busy making arrangements for the funeral. Sonia too was very busy. At their last meeting, Svidrigailov informed Raskolnikov that he had made an arrangement, and a very satisfactory one, for Katerina Ivanovna's children, that he had, through certain connections, succeeded in getting hold of certain personages, by whose help the 3 orphans could be at once placed in very suitable institutions. That the money he had settled on them had been of great assistance, as it is much easier to place orphans with some property than destitute ones. Svidrigailov said something to about Sonia and promised to come himself in a day or two to see Raskolnikov, mentioning that he would like to consult with him, that there were things they must talk over. Presently, Katerina Ivanovna's funeral had been fixed to hold that day. Raskolnikov had been eating when Razumin opened the door of his garret and came in. Razumin revealed to Raskolnikov that his mother, Pulcheria Alexandrovna, had been seriously ill since the day before. Pulcheria Alexandrovna had made up her mind to come to Raskolnikov. Dunya, that is Avdotia Romanovna, Raskolnikov's sister, had tried to prevent her, but Raskolnikov's mother wouldn't hear a word. If he is ill, if his mind is giving way, who can look after him like his mother? Pulcheria Alexandrovna had said. Razumin, Dunya, and Pulcheria Alexandrovna had all made their way to Raskolnikov's garret. When they came into the garret, Raskolnikov wasn't present. Pulcheria Alexandrovna sat down and stayed 10 minutes, while Razumin and Dunya stood waiting in silence. Then Pulcheria Alexandrovna had gotten up and said, if he's gone out, that is, if he's well, and has forgotten his mother, it's humiliating and unseemly for his mother to stand at his door begging for kindness. Pulcheria Alexandrovna had then returned home and took to her bed. Now she was in a fever. Razumin also revealed to Raskolnikov that his sister Dunya had received a letter that day, which had upset her very much indeed. Razumin then took his leave of Raskolnikov's garret. As soon as Razumin went out, Raskolnikov got up, turned to the window, walked into one corner and then into another, as though forgetting the smallness of his room, and sat down again on the sofa. Raskolnikov then took his cap and went out of the room, still pondering. But no sooner had he opened the door than he stumbled upon Porfiry, the investigating lawyer himself, in the passage. Porfiry Petrovich was coming in to see Raskolnikov. Raskolnikov was dumbfounded for a minute, but only for 1 minute. Strange to say, Raskolnikov was not very much astonished at seeing Porfiry, and scarcely afraid of him. He was simply startled, but was quickly, instantly, on his guard. You didn't expect a visitor, Rodion Romanovich, Porfiry explained, laughing. I have been meaning to look in a long time. I was passing by and thought, why not go in for 5 minutes? Are you going out? I won't keep you long. Just let me have one cigarette. Sit down, Porfiry Petrovich, sit down. Raskolnikov gave his visitor a seat, with so pleased and friendly an expression that he would have marveled at himself if he could have seen it. The last moment had come. The last drops had to be drained. So a man will sometimes go through half an hour of mortal terror with a brigand. Yet, when the knife is at his throat at last, he feels no fear. Raskolnikov seated himself directly facing Porphyry, and looked at him without flinching. Porphyry screwed up his eyes and began lighting a cigarette. Porphyry Petrovich had come to make a proposition to Raskolnikov. He revealed to Raskolnikov that he positively believed and was certain that Raskolnikov was the murderer. The offer was for Raskolnikov to confess as the murderer of his own will rather than being arrested, as Porfiry Petrovich revealed that he was going to give the order for Raskolnikov to be arrested soon. But if Raskolnikov was to confess of his own will within the period leading to his possible arrest, that event would positively reduce the number of years Raskolnikov was going to serve in prison, as it will absolve an innocent man of being wrongfully sentenced as the murderer, which was Nikolai, the man whom had earlier confessed to have murdered the old pawnbroker at the investigating lawyer's office. Raskolnikov then positively denied the offer from the investigating lawyer, affirming that he was innocent, and if he was to be arrested, then so be it. Raskolnikov, after his meeting with the investigating lawyer, Porfiry Petrovich, was then eager to find out what Svidrigailov wanted to speak to him about. Was it relating towards how Svidrigailov might desire to use the information he had gotten through eavesdropping on Raskolnikov and Sonia Marmeladov's conversation? Raskolnikov then went to meet Svidrigailov at a tavern at X Prospect, 30 or 40 paces from the hay market. During their discussion, Svidrigailov revealed to Raskolnikov events of his escapades while getting even more drunk, as he had already been tipsy when Raskolnikov found him. The conversation came to its natural end, and they parted ways, with Svidrigailov going to the right towards the Haymarket, while Raskolnikov started to tail Svidrigailov. But Svidrigailov was aware of this development. Svidrigailov then met with Dunya after successfully ditching Raskolnikov. He then lured her into his apartment at Madame Reslich's place, where he then divulged the details of the letter he had sent earlier to Dunya, in which he alluded towards Raskolnikov committing a crime. Presently at his apartment, Svidrigailov recounted the conversations he had heard while eavesdropping on Raskolnikov and Sonia Marmeladov to Dunya, revealing that Raskolnikov was the perpetrator, the murderer of the old pawnbroker and her sister. Dunya, while still in shock of what she heard that her brother had done, had then tried to leave, but Svidrigailov refused to let her go. After begging Svidrigailov for a while to let her go, and in so doing perceiving that Svidrigailov was adamant towards granting her her wish, she then pulled out a revolver, which she had concealed within her clothes. Dunya threatened to kill Svidrigailov unless he let her go, but Svidrigailov didn't budge. She then shot at him twice. One of the bullets grazed his hair and flew into the wall behind. The bullet just grazed the skin of Svidrigailov, while the second shot misfired. Dunya, seeing that Svidrigailov would sooner die than let her go, then flung away the revolver in a loss of hope. In the midst of this interaction, Svidrigailov then asked Dunya if she loved him, to which Dunya answered, never. He then had a change of heart and then gave her the key to his apartment. Take it. Make haste. Make haste. Dunya snatched up the key, flew to the door, unlocked it quickly, and rushed out of the room. Svidrigailov spent the rest of the evening till 10 o'clock going from one low haunt to another. After the incident with Dunya, he went to Sonia Marmeladov's lodge and gave her 3 5% bonds to the value of 3,000 rubles. Take those for yourself, entirely for yourself, and let that be strictly between ourselves, so that no one knows of it. Whatever you hear, you will need the money. For to go on living in the old way, Sofia Semyonovna, is bad, and besides, there is no need for it now. Afterwards, on that same evening, at about 20 past 11, Svidrigailov made his way into the little flat where the parents of his betrothed lived in 3rd Street in Vasilievsky Island. You see, Svidrigailov had made plans to remarry immediately following the death of his wife, Marfa Petrovna. Svidrigailov then informed his betrothed at her parents' house that he was obliged by very important affairs to leave Petersburg for a time, and therefore brought her, his betrothed, 15,000 rubles, begging her to accept them as a present from him, as he, Svidrigailov, had long been intending to make her, his betrothed, this trifling present before their wedding. Svidrigailov, exactly at midnight, then crossed the bridge on the way back to the mainland. He turned and went towards Y Prospect, walking along the street for a while, almost half an hour. While passing through the street, he noticed a hotel, somewhere towards the end, built of wood but fairly large, and its name, he remembered, was something like Adrianople. So Vigilio spent the night at this hotel. Then in the morning he got up and went into the street. He walked along the slippery, dirty wooden pavement towards the Little Never. At last he reached the end of the wooden pavement and came to a big stone house. He turned into the street where there was the big house with a tower, and reached the great closed gate of the house. Svidrigailov then took out the revolver which Dunya had flung at his apartment, cocked it, put the revolver to his right temple, and pulled the trigger. The same day that Svidrigailov had committed suicide at about 7 o'clock in the evening, Raskolnikov made his way to Bakaliev's house to see his mother and sister, but he only met his mother present. He then revealed to his mother, Pulcheria Alexandrovna, "I've come to assure you that I have always loved you, and I am glad that we are alone, even glad Dunia is out. I've come to tell you that, though you will be unhappy, you must believe that your son loves you now more than himself, and that all you thought about me, that I was cruel and didn't care about you, was all a mistake. I shall never cease to love you." Raskolnikov and his mother then embraced in silence, with Pulcheria Alexandrovna weeping gently. Raskolnikov said his goodbyes and made his way to his garret, where he found his sister Dunya waiting for him. Raskolnikov immediately realized from the betrayed horror and infinite grief in Dunya's eyes, which was fixed upon him, that she knew. He then confessed to Dunya that he had contemplated drowning himself so as to avoid the disgrace, but he had changed his mind out of pride, and now he was going to give himself up, turn himself to the police. Raskolnikov then apologized for the pain he had caused his sister and mother, with Dunya embracing her brother, crying. Raskolnikov then beseeched Dunya to be with their mother, Pulcheria Alexandrovna, saying his goodbyes and then parting ways with his sister as they both left the garret. Raskolnikov then went to see Sonia Marmeladov one last time, informing Sonia that he was fulfilling her wish and turning himself in to the police. He then went into the police station and confessed to Ilya Petrovich, the assistant superintendent of the district. "It was I killed the old pawnbroker woman and her sister, Elizaveta, with an axe and robbed them." 5 months after Raskolnikov's confession, he was sentenced. Raskolnikov was condemned to penal servitude in the second class for a term of 8 years only. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. James Baldwin. It's a question of removing the clouds rather than recreating the sun. Chogyam Trungpa. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. Epictetus.